Welcome to class, students. Today we'll be looking at a very vital topic titled contract law. Contract law encompasses the legal principles that govern binding agreements between parties. This area of law establishes the framework for forming, interpreting, and enforcing contractual obligations, ensuring that commitments are upheld and offering legal recourse when breaches occur. Contracts form the foundation of commercial and personal dealings, fostering trust and predictability in various transactions. So essential elements for contract law is mutual agreement, valuable exchange, legal competence, lawful purpose, legal enforceability, remedies for violation. We have mutual agreement, valuable exchange, legal competence, lawful purpose, legal enforceability, remedies for violation. So we have mutual agreement. Valid contracts require a clear offer from one party and corresponding assentment from another, establish shared understanding and consent. Valuable exchange. Both parties must contribute something of worth, whether money, service, goods or promises, creating a reciprocal relationship. Legal competence. All parties must possess the mental capacity and legal authority necessary to enter contractual relationship. Lawful purpose. Contract terms and objectives must comply with existing laws and public policy. Legal enforceability. When all required components exist, contracts become legally binding and courts can compel compliance. Remedies for violation. When contractual duties are not unfulfilled, the injured party may pursue legal remedies including monetary damage or court orders requiring specific actions. Understanding contracts. Contracts represent legally enforceable agreements that establish and modify the rights and obligation of the involved party. Court will uphold this agreement when properly for. I'll take that again. Contracts represent legally enforceable agreement. This agreement is legal, it has a legal binding that establish and modify the right and obligation of the involved party. Courts will uphold this agreement when properly formed. Typically, one party relinquishes certain legal rights or accepts disadvantages in return for benefits provided by the other party. Justice Tobey defined contracts as agreements creating mutual legal duties for parties to perform or refrain from specific action. While most contracts involve reciprocal benefit, some one-sided promises can also be legally binding. Contracts involve exactly two sides, though multiple individuals or entities may compromise each side. When more than two distinct parties participate, multiple separate contracts typically exist. For instance, guarantee arrangements involve three parties but create two distinct contracts, one between the lender and the guarantor and another between the lender and the prime borrower. Contractual enforcement serve a crucial societal function as modern economic and commercial activity depend heavily on reliable agreement. Allowing parties to abandon promises without consequences would undermine trust and disrupt economic stability, particularly when others have acted in reliance on those commitments. Legal enforcement of contract therefore support orderly and efficient business operations. Contract categories. Contracts are classified according to various characteristics: formal versus simple contract, express versus implied contract, bilateral versus unilateral contract. While formal and simple contract. Formal contract, also known as contract under seal or deed, must be documented in writing and bear the official seal of the executing party. Contemporary parties are involved to accept signature as well. Since seals have become widely available and commonplace, these sealed contracts serve as a unique purpose. They can enforce gratuitous promises that lack mutual consideration between parties. The court established the Zenus versus Wickham that physical delivery of the sealed document is necessary once in the executing party once the executing party demonstrates clear intent to be legally bound by commitment. While simple contract encompass all agreements that do not qualify as formal contract. This category includes both written agreements without sales and verbal agreements. Verbal contracts are sometimes called paro contracts today, though historically this term applied to both unsealed written contract and oral agreement. The fundamental distinction lies in consideration requirement. Simple contracts require the plaintiff to provide consideration to pursue legal action, while formal contract may waive this consideration requirement. Express and implied contract. Express contracts feature clearly articulated terms and conditions. This represents the standard arrangement typically arising from negotiation covering price, duration, and other specific details. Mountford v. Scott exemplifies this, where Scott explicitly granted Mountford a 6-month option to purchase his house for €10 in exchange for €1. Implied contract exists when terms are not explicitly stated but can be inferred from the parties' behavior and circumstances. Courts determine contractual existence by examining the conduct of involved parties. For instance, a passenger boarding a bus creates an unspoken agreement. Transportation agreement. Transportation is the destination in an exchange of fair transport. In Bogdan v. Metropolitan Railway Co., the court found that the defendant bound by the contract terms despite never signing the agreement because both parties had consistently acted according to the unsigned document provision over an extended period. Contract categories. We also have the bilateral and unilateral contracts. Bilateral contracts involve mutual promises exchanges between parties, typically featuring executory consideration, promises yet to be fulfilled. For example, when A requests B to construct a house in return for payment, both parties make binding promises before performance begins. The offer is generally made directly to the specific other party, as demonstrated in the previously mentioned Mountford v. Scott case. Unilateral contracts involve executed consideration and typically present offers to group or general public for interested parties to accept. Reward cases exemplify this structure. The Landman Khalil v. Carbolic Small Co. case illustrates this perfectly. The defendant's company publicly advertised a €100 reward for anyone using their smoke board for 2 weeks who will stay contracted influencer. The court held the company liable to the plaintiff for €100, establishing that purchasing and using the smoke board constituted acceptance without requiring explicit communication of that acceptance. Thank you for listening.